everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. And today we have a review of a TV show. One that's in its, last night anyway, it was in its next to the last episode. And next week will be its final episode, and that is Better Call Saul. Marco's so choked up that he can't even talk.
What do you mean?
Just kidding. And there's a mosquito in here, so...
There's a hair. There's a hair. Doop, doop.
I heard it slapping something. It's slapping the mosquito.
Hair and mosquitoes. That would have been a better episode title. Oh yeah, it would have, Marco. That's really good. You should come up with episode titles. Oh, thank you, Sophie. No problem. Right, Sophie?
Yeah.
So, Sophie, I don't understand. Why aren't you talking?
I don't know what to say about this episode.
You want me to talk? I don't understand.
We talked about it before doing the review.
We did?
And,
did.
I talked about it, and I felt like it was in three sections. Section 1 was the future with Kim, who had brown hair, and what her life was, and the title of the episode was Waterworks. Well, usually when somebody talks about waterworks, they're talking about somebody crying, and she did cry during the episode, but it was at one time, and that was it. But the waterworks, I believe, referred to her job. She worked for a company that sold all kinds of faucets and sprayers, like people would use to spray their yard or whatever. And they constantly showed pictures of them, describing them. So it was all about water works, meaning the works that you use to produce massive quantities of water under your lawn. And then the middle episode was a little jaunt back
The middle episode.
Well, the middle part of the episode.
The middle story after the first story.
Was a really kind of very tiny part with...
Was it a story? Would you call it a story?
I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. That's just a habit for me. I was listening to a book, Five Nights at Freddy's, which is a story.
Let's just call it a scribble.
Okay, it's a scribble.
Like, remember my subconscious scribble drawings?
Yes, Marco. Well, the middle is a scribble because it was very short, really. And it showed Jesse, just for fun, because he really, he knew who she was by looking at her. They were outside of Saul's office, and he was helping a friend of Jesse's. And basically it wasn't much. I think it was just so people could see him. And everybody, I think everybody likes Jesse.
Fan service.
And
pointless fan service.
And then the third part was the future, of course, with Saul and all the things that happened. It was very subtle, but a lot of little subtle things, and it was actually a couple little comic relief. I don't know, whenever you make an episode or a movie, it seems like you should have the comic relief spread out through even if it's just a couple occasions. But all the comic, and one was like an ironic type of, quip or something by Carol Burnett. And then the other one was an actual, what would you call it, Keystone cops in the car talking about their fast food that they're eating. And they just happened to stop at a particular place, which was a very interesting place. So that was the two little comic pieces, which were at the end. And that's it. That was the episode. The one that's lasted almost an hour and a half, and it's the next to last episode to a series that's been on for a few years. So go ahead, Marco.
Really? Are you sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Ready to do the review.
Okay.
Whoopsie! I can't do the review because I started watching it, and, the first thing that we see is black and white bullshit. Already, I'm sick of this black and white. Color, color, color. The whole fucking show's about a colorful person. So already, I'm not in the mood to watch it. And then I see Kim, and it's like, oh, great, better call Kim. And we see her, and she has this dark hair, and that's it. And it's her in the future, and that's it. Sophie,
Sorry.
I'm going to start coughing when you talk, so that you won't be able to say anything. So all she has is long hair, and it's the long, dark hair. That's the only change that's there to her character. And all I could think was, with Jimmy and Gene, not only did they make him, like, to the point of where he looks like a wart on a person's face, with, like, a wart with hair on it, with a weird old man mustache.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but they make him weak and feeble and stupid and mean and evil, and they just completely have ruined his character. And so it just shows how little respect that these writers have for their own character, that they have done this to him. It's like Chuck has written this final season, and it's like Chuck is just continuing to write the show. And you just put those two characters next to each other, and you see, look, this is how Kim has changed. She has dark hair now. That's it. There's nothing else. Nothing else can be wrong with Kim, because she's perfect. Because the writers are so in love with her that they can't do anything to their precious Kim. And they can't make her look like Jean. Even though she's like, I don't know, she's dead inside. They can't make her look like Jean. They can't even make her look like her mother or something. Like, I thought that that's what was going to happen, where she'll start to look and act like her and start to smoke a lot more and maybe get drunk all the time or something. But instead it's like, oh no, she just has dark hair now. And it's like, okay. And then what happened was she's doing the dishes, and then her boyfriend or husband walks in.
Well, I never even knew what he was. I just assumed he was her husband, but then I thought maybe he's not her husband.
It's some random retard. And then there's this stupid grilling sequence where they're kind of like trying to parody the Stepford Wives, where, they kind of do the typical misunderstood American thing where it's like, oh no, everyone's in prison because they all have barbecue parties together and they have fun. And it's all a big prison for people to be married and to have barbecue parties. And so you can tell, like, that's just wrong. I mean, you can see, like, in Breaking Bad, they have barbecue parties all the time, and they looked like a lot of fun. And now they've turned barbecue parties into the typical college girl view of what a barbecue party is. Of like, this is just a prison that women have to be in, where they're serving the patriarchy by getting married and throwing barbecue parties where they all stand together like they're in prison in the yard. And they're playing, of course, the tequila song, and that's, of course, a reference to season 2. So they're trying to do that, and then after that, that's when the last straw happened, because then they showed a shot of Kim having sex with her husband, and he was saying yup, yup, yup over again, like Kevin's dad in season 5. from the commercial that Jimmy took and he kind of like used for his own fake Frankenstein commercial. And that's when I turned the episode off because I refuse to watch it. I'm not watching any more of it at all because you can tell they hate the Jimmy character, and I'm not going to watch any more of what they do to his character because they did that on purpose too. It's like not only does she has a perfect situation now. Well, Jimmy is in the cold and he's Gene and he's committing robberies, and it's like, fuck you. Fuck the people who wrote this show. Fuck the people who made it. I refuse to watch it. I'm not going to be involved with it anymore. The only way that I'll watch it is if next episode Safi tells me that he has a happy ending with or without fucking Kim. So I'm not watching it anymore. So there you go, Safi. You can do the rest of the review. Bye-bye.
Okay, well...
I give it an F for fuck you.
Well, Kim does something very odd. And I don't know why she did it. And what happened was Jimmy called her and at her place of business. And she was shocked to hear his voice. And apparently, Kim has decided, or already done it, to do something. And that is, she's going to confess. And you say, confess what? She is going to go, well, she's already seen the Florida prosecuting attorney's office. And she's going to go to New Mexico, and she's going to tell, and she's made up an affidavit. Now, she knows all about this. She was a lawyer for years. She knows about all the paperwork and everything that would have to be involved. And she wants to go to Howard's wife. And I guess she tells Jimmy and on the phone, and this could be the call that we never got to hear what was said, and then right after that he starts in on this scam thing with people right after that. And so I don't know that for sure, but she was talking to him on the phone. She said she was going to confess this thing with what happened to Howard and the scam that they were running on him about trying to make people think he was a drug addict. She included that part too. And he said, "Oh, go ahead." And he's really mad. "You just want to do that. Why? Why are you going to do that?" And she ended up hanging up on him, and that was the end of that. There was no more talk between them. And so she went to New Mexico, and the wife, I think it's a different place. They live in this mansion with the gate in front that you have to be let in, and it swings open electronically, and it's this gigantic mansion. That woman, his wife, Howard's wife, lives there. And so she'd been expected because of the way what happened at the door. She goes in, and she has this thing all typed up, and she tells her she gave a copy to the Florida prosecuting attorney's office. And so you get to read along with her on some of it, and it talks about the scam they pulled on Howard, making everybody think that he was has some kind of problem with drugs and why they did it. And then it talks about what happened to him, and that she said, "Well, why? How could he get murdered? What did he do?" And she said he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And she said, "Well, what happened to his body?" And she goes, "I don't know." And she said, "Everybody's dead who could tell you. And so they may never find out where he is." And she goes, "I could sue you for everything you have." And I'm like, looking at her house and like, why would she do that? She doesn't have anything more than her. And and then she told her about the prosecuting attorney or whatever it was in Florida, and that they may not charge her she wasn't sure. So all of that was unsure, unclear, because nobody knows. And so then the wife made a bad reference to her and said, "You people are horrible." And anyway, she ended up leaving. And then they see her go home. She gets on the airport bus, you know, the one that takes you to the airplane, and you look like she's going to cry, and then all of a sudden she cries really loudly, and somebody puts their hand on her shoulder, and that was the real waterworks I think that people were thinking of. And then the rest of the episode is part 3, because they don't show anything else with that. Part 3. And part 3 is, it's that scam. Remember last week? They were going to do this scam, and that guy said, "I don't want to do it because my dad had pancreatic cancer," which is what this victim had, this potential financial fraud victim. And Saul had fired him, and he said, "I'll just go do it." And so I guess the plan is he goes in there, and he does it by breaking a glass and getting in that way. Because remember, they had taken the tape away, which would allow you access. You just slide the door open. And the other guy had taken it away, thinking they'd never go back. And, of course, he didn't go back, but Saul was all by himself. He went in there, and he wasn't very good at it. The other guy had been very smooth. He'd done all these steps. It was very orderly. And Saul didn't know. It's kind of like, okay, now what do I do? You know, and it was slow, and the guy was sound asleep. He was snoring. And then he goes upstairs, and meanwhile, to find more records, I guess, he wasn't satisfied with what he had, or he didn't get what he was supposed to, what he usually gets. But the other guy would do that. He was better at it. And meanwhile, the cab driver came, and he sat outside the door. And here comes the cops. They come up and they pull in behind him. Well, he gets really nervous, and which I kind of don't blame him. And he just sits there, frozen, like, what do I do? And then the cops are just talking about their dinner. They got fast food. And one of the cops didn't get enough of some kind of food that he got, and we got 1 or 2 pieces of whatever it was. And that's all they were talking about. They weren't even thinking about it. They were probably thinking maybe he's waiting for the person to wake up. You take him to the airport or something. They didn't think a thing. They didn't even say anything about it. They were just talking about their food. Well, the guy was just getting more nervous, and I guess Saul looked out the window and saw what was going on, like, oh my God. And so all of a sudden, the cab driver puts his foot on the pedal really hard. It's running. He starts the car, puts the pedal on the go, and goes really hard, makes a turn, he rams into a parked car. And so the cops are like, what the hell? And so they're right there, and they go up to him, and they think he's drunk, and they arrest him. And then the very end is Carol Burnett, who is still in the season. She figures out, I won't go into all that because Mark was having a fit, that it's Saul Goodman, that he's a wanted man. And she did it by asking Jeeves. That was the other comical thing. And if anybody knows what that is, that's just an internet tool to ask something on the computer, a question, and they provide an answer. And she asked, who's the most biggest con artist in Albuquerque, New Mexico? And Jeeves said, Saul Goodman. And so she has some kind of a warning or alert button on her clothing in case she falls or something. And she presses it, and that's when hell breaks loose. And after that, everything went downhill.
Oh, God. Oh.
The thing is,
You're gonna give that shit a B?
no.
Last night you were like, ooh, I give it a B. Ooh, no, maybe a C. And then this morning you're like, ooh, no, maybe a D. And then,
I'll give it a C minus.
oh my God. That sounds like the fucking stupidest episode I've ever heard.
No, you can't say anything unless you saw it.
I'm not watching it.
Well, I didn't want to watch it either. And you knew, at least I thought, that him going back to the scene of this guy has cancer and trying to keep pulling off this con, that might be the one that does him in. And also the thing with Carol Burnett, last week.
Safi, let's just be honest, Safi.
What?
The writers did him in.
Well, just the whole. Well, they wrote it.
Yeah, they did him in.
Okay, well, so
his character never would have done any of that.
No.
He did not do himself in. The writers did him in.
And that's what's so awful, is that was so out of character. First he fires the guy, and he was so. They showed these cons, a few of them, and this other guy was very smooth. He knew what to do, where to go, how to do it, very quick. Very efficient. Well, it looks like Saul would just have other people do what he wanted, and he would just call the shots, and that was it. He never physically did the con, not in this kind of con anyway. And he was terrible at it, and he was taking time, and I'm not going to just watch the rest of it.
No.
At least there's a lot of
No.
that goes on. Well, anybody else out there.
No, don't do that. Don't support them. Don't do it.
Okay, well, it was like one after another thing happened. And I don't know if I should say the guy is he gets arrested. Because
Sophie, just review the episode.
Well,
People have already watched it. Just
Okay.
review the episode.
Usually Marco talks a lot more than I do.
Yeah, well, I'm not here to protect you anymore, so do a review.
Okay.
Do a review.
So anyway, all I can say is it's in 3 parts. They're different from each other. What we thought.
What do you
thought that
think
what
about
happened,
those parts?
The middle part is, I guess you get to see, because we were all guessing what was on the phone call. What was she telling him? Or why is he doing this con when he was just doing it to begin with to solve a problem, and that is to keep these guys away from him and don't do anything to tell anybody, or he's going to turn them in and they're going to be just as culpable. And they were leaving him alone. And then all of a sudden, he gets this phone call, and then after that, he decides he wants to do this con again. They're all in. And it was totally against his character. But besides that, being a lawyer, being everything he's been through, he knew how dangerous it was, that anything could go wrong. And that's exactly what happened last night. Just about anything went wrong. And it just wasn't like him to do that. And we were wondering. And then we thought, well, if he goes back, because he fired the guy wouldn't go back. And I said this already. And so he decides to do it, etc. And then what happens. And we knew it was going to be a problem in some way. So basically, everybody who watches this show is left with this. What's going to happen? Is he, 1, going to get arrested? Is he, 2, going to be put in jail forever? 3, get away somehow? 4, get killed? How is this going to end for him? How do you want it to end? do you care? It's just, it's sickening how they have really, it's like they put a whoopee cushion underneath the episode and the actor sat down and then they jumped up and ran around crying like crazy and screaming and having a fit. And it's just, or it's like it's a balloon and the air's been pulled out of it and it's deflating very fast, really fast, and it's just terrible. And you just don't even, Marco said they were going to they already done it, I guess, to get a series for Kim. And neither he nor I want to watch that. We just don't care anymore.
No, and especially after this show, which started off so good and ended so horribly, you know, I don't want to invest any more time into things that these people make. Because, you know, they have this thing, they have this queer obsession with wanting to rush through things and wanting to only have a specific amount of episodes, a specific amount of seasons. They have this retarded mindset where they think that they don't write the show, the characters write the show. And so I don't want to invest any more time into anything that they make because I don't want that investment to be waste. You know, like with Twin Peaks. I started watching Twin Peaks because I had heard, you know, in the 90s, Twin Peaks got canceled after a measly 2 seasons. And I was like, oh, wow, another show where it's like they just completely ruined it and it could have been a 10-plus season show. And I thought, oh, they're bringing it back. Maybe it'll be a show that keeps going on and it'll be something to watch every year. And then what do? They bring Twin Peaks back for 1 season and then they don't do anything. And it's like, I don't want to invest any time into people who are that lazy.
Well, it's just disappointing. These people are getting paid to write. It's their job. And a lot of people, I used to interview writers and potters and artists of all kinds, opera, everything. And, you know, a lot of people, they can't devote full time to their creative work because they have to pay bills and they don't get enough money to do that. So they have to do other jobs. And then when they can, they do these fun jobs. I call them fun, but it's really what they're good at. And it helps other people too because they like it. And these people get paid to write and to do this job and just to be a part of this collaboration, which was good in the beginning.
Yeah, the first 3 seasons were good.
And then it's like they're taking it for granted. And you know, there's a lot of people who aren't to their level and they're kind of like underlings, I shouldn't say that, but you know, they have lesser jobs, lesser paying jobs. And they depend on this, they depended on this show and others for their living. And these writers ruined it. And maybe other people ruined it too. I don't want to blame everything on them because
it is their fault.
The network could have said, well, no, you can't do this anymore. You have to cut it off. We want to do something else.
I don't think so, Sophie.
I don't know. I don't know anything except just what it seems like to me. And these people,
Sophie, they purposefully made it. This is how queer it is. They purposefully made it to where this show had the same amount of episodes as Breaking Bad.
Well, yeah, I know. And they wanted to do symmetrical.
I think it has 1 more episode than Breaking Bad, but they purposefully did that. That's how queer they are. That's how weird they are. Okay? I mean, it's bizarre. It's really weird. It's not right. It's not good writing. It's not good television. And it's not good storytelling.
Yeah, and we're looking at quantity versus quality. And so they have fewer episodes, but the quality's gone way down.
Way down.
And if I see some kind of review where they say this is a masterpiece.
They have,
Spare
Safi.
me.
Some people have said this episode where Kim has sex with someone who isn't Jimmy. They say that this is the greatest episode of television history.
And that
And,
just means they haven't seen anything.
No, we know those are the writers of the show. Those are the people who made the show, just writing fake reviews on IMDb. And then there's even, of course, you have the typical reviews. What are they saying, Safi?
10 out of 10.
No. What else are they saying? You know, what do they say? What's their favorite thing to say about every single episode of the show, even though it
it's
sucks?
a masterpiece.
No, not that. What's the other thing?
I don't know.
This is the Ozymandias of Better Call Saul.
I never remember that because
it's like every fucking episode is the Ozymandias of Better Call Saul. Like, that's what they say. Like, that's how comical it is. It's almost like, okay, these people have to be paid robot automatic reviews or something, because there's no way that there's people in the audience who are this dumb, to just put it bluntly. You know, like, this show is just, the quality, it's not there. And if you really like watching this is exactly like what if Chuck wrote the show, because you can feel the hatred they have for Jimmy's character. And you can feel like after all these seasons of him getting to succeed and him getting to overcome things like having Chuck as his brother, him overcoming that struggle and reaching where he wants to go, you can tell that now they just want to torture him, and they want you to enjoy watching his torture. And it's like, what else are they going to do? Are they going to cut off his balls? Are they going to, what are they going to do? Are they going to have him get executed, like in the Ted Bundy movie where they show the police shoving cotton balls up his ass? Like, are they gonna shove cotton balls up Saul? Like, what else are they gonna do to demoralize him and to bring him down? What else are these shitty writers gonna do? So I don't want to see it. I'm not happy, and this, I wouldn't even call this canon either. I would say that this is I would say seasons 4 through 6 are fan fiction. And by fan fiction, I mean automatic AI robot fan fiction that sucks. And so obviously this episode, it's automatically at the bottom of the list because I couldn't even finish it. I'm not going to. And then the finale will probably be even worse because they're not going to give him a happy ending. They're not going to let anything good happen for him, because they hate his character, but they love Kim. And I'm telling you guys, I've already said this before, they even said in an interview, this would have been a completely different show if the actress playing Kim wasn't the actress who plays Kim. Which means that these hacks purposefully changed the entire show to service Kim. And so, okay, you want to service Kim? Well, you're not going to be getting any more of my service. You will get Safi's service, because she just, I don't know, I don't understand why she would even give this a C, because it's just so horrible what they did, and it's embarrassing, it's cringeworthy, it's despicable, it sucks, just everything about it sucks. And the fact that, all that happens to Kim is she has dark hair now. It's like, what are they trying to do? Be like Vertigo? Where they have it where he finds the blonde woman and then, oh, look, it's a woman with dark hair. Like, I think that that's what they're trying to do, Safi. They are going to do it. I'm making a prediction.
I don't know.
They are going to have Kim dye her hair blonde again, just like in Vertigo. She's going to look exactly like Kim. and then she's going to commit suicide, and Jimmy's going to be sad, and he's going to live a miserable life. That has to happen because right now they're copying Vertigo. Earlier on this season, they were copying Rope in a shitty, lazy-ass way. Now they're going to copy Vertigo. Yay! Are you excited for that, Safi?
No.
You know they'll do that. You know then she'll fly off as an angel and she'll fucking bless everyone in New Mexico with some superpowers. While Jimmy is like, he's having a really bad bowel movement and just everything's going wrong for him, and they'll just have it be like, let's write the next episode of Better Call Saul right now. Okay. It opens up interior bathroom. Gene is in a gas station bathroom. He is on the run from the old woman, not the old man like Jeff Bridges, but the old woman, and he now has hemorrhoids, and he can't even go to the bathroom anymore because he's so full of shit.
Oh yeah, Carol Burnett said there never was a nippy, was there?
No, she didn't.
Yeah, she did.
That's fucking retarded.
No, she did.
Okay.
She said, I trusted you. And he said, I know. And it looked like he was going to strangle her. He had
you didn't mention anything about a strangle.
No, I didn't say anything because I forgot about it. Because that was just going too far. He never did anything like that. And,
he's a killer now? He's a killer now?
She pressed her it was a little push button thing. She pressed it, and somebody comes on and says, are you okay?
She pressed
whatever her name is, what are you doing? And she goes, there's a criminal in my living room.
She pressed the plot convenience button?
Well,
okay.
It's that I can't get up or something.
Oh my God.
I can't get up. I don't know, wasn't that...
I will finish the finale now because we have to make it end, okay?
Yeah, let's do it because we're not the writers and we're not getting paid.
Well, I am writing right now. He finishes going to the bathroom. He still can't do it. It's too hard. He pulls out a picture of his pocket of Kim. The picture is now ruined because he put his fingers on it. And so now her face is all smushed in and he can never see a picture of Kim again. And then he walks outside and there's a drug addict and he's named Skeeby G. Lizzie, and the drug addict robs him, steals all of his money, all the rest of his money, and then Jimmy, he's very sad, so he cries, and then he steps in a puddle, and the puddle splashes on his face, and then he gets into a car that he thinks is a taxi, and it turns out to be a serial killer. And the serial killer tortures Jimmy, and he says, what are your last words, Jimmy? Saul, Gene. And Jimmy says, Chuck was right. And then the serial killer cuts off his testicles, and he kills him and disembowels him. And then he takes a picture of it, and he says, I killed Saul. And he puts I killed Saul on the picture. So that then when he gets discovered, they'll see that, ooh, Saul Goodman got tortured and killed by a serial killer. So then we go over to Kim. Kim has met her luck because she has met a television producer by the name of Marvy Meinstein. And
God.
And she gets married to him, and she becomes Marvy Meinstein's wife. And she makes billions of dollars, and she never has to worry about the law again, and she's so happy. And then she commits suicide because she's sad about Howard for like, how many years has it been? Like 1,000 years? So then she jumps out the window, and she flies away like an angel. That's the ending of Better Call Saul. There you go, Safi. What'd you think of that? Was that good? That's what's going to happen.
Oh, we'll see.
That's the type of thing they do.
I don't know what they're going to do. I can't even imagine. They did show a little clip. It was leaked last week or something. That's what Marco said. And it showed his car maybe, or a car, like a copper-colored sedan type of older car. And the windows and everything had been knocked out. And then you hear him talking. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean. It means he's not arrested and he's not dead. I guess that's what that means. But I don't, what is it? What does it mean? He's going to get away? I don't know. And I just wanted to say, it looked like he was going to strangle Carol Burnett. And she was kind of cowering, walking backward, but she still managed to say, there's this guy in my room and kitchen or something, and he's Saul Goodman, and he's a criminal, and et cetera, and they didn't show anymore.
Oh yeah, and I forgot the most integral part of this episode, this finale. So Jimmy, after being robbed by the crack addict, he finds a little girl, and she's pulling schemes like Slippin' Jimmy. And he says, You little bitch! You think that you're gonna pull a Slippin' Jimmy on my block? And he goes up to her, and he strangles her to death, and he snaps her neck open, and he throws her on the road, and he says, Oops, I didn't do it. And then he slips and falls, and he makes $1,000. But then it turns out the $1,000 is Monopoly money. Boom!
Okay, that sounds a little bit...
That's what they do to him.
Strong.
Well, you just said he's a serial killer now. He kills people.
He didn't kill her.
He's going to kill old women.
He ran away.
Oh. What's he going to do now?
He kind of he did what he would always do. He and then he put his arms down, and this thing he had in his hand, this rod, which just seemed like he got from the kitchen drawer. I think it might have been a leash. No, because they don't have a dog. I don't know. It's weird. And then he runs out the door, and you see him running, and that's it. And what happened with that? She was supposed to go to the jail place and bail him out. And she said, no, I'm not going to do that. And she says, why don't you do it? And I think because of the house, he said it, that he couldn't do it. He said all this technical legalese. And she thought, That's when she did all this internet searching and found out who he was. So...
Wow, that's so intelligent writing.
Whatever.
You just convinced me this is an A+ episode, and it's the Ozymandias of Breaking Bad.
Nah. Anyway.
So anyways.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Fuck.
And I don't know if I even care anymore, because they really have made him a kind of despicable, but not... not like Lalo or anything, but they've just made him like you don't want to care. You cared before about him.
Well, it's funny because...
funny and nice, and you thought he was being wronged, which he was wronged
by
his brother.
He was also, whenever he did stuff, for the most part, he was doing it for a point. He was doing it for a reason. He was doing it to serve some sort of a quest or goal, and now there's no goal.
No.
So, and the funny thing is that I wanted to quit watching this show after the finale of season 5. And I really should have, because I think I would have been a lot more pleased with the show than I am right now. Because at least at the end of season 5, I didn't know about all the stuff all the dumb shit they're going to do with Howard, Nacho, Lalo, Kim. I didn't know about all the plans that they had, and so I should have just stopped watching. Like I said I was going to do after season 5, because I was right.
Yeah. Well, I don't like stopping in the middle, and it's not really the middle, it's at the end. And I'm forcing myself to watch it.
But there's nothing to look forward to. Like at
No,
least
there's nothing to look forward to. Nothing.
at least with Hell on Wheels, like they had it to where I think the third or second to last episode, they finished the railroad. And so like you had that to look forward to. And then you also thought like what is going to happen to the main character? Is he going to finally encounter the bad guy who has been missing since season 1? No, that didn't happen because those writers suck too. They probably forgot about him even existing. But, there was something to look forward to. There was something that, like, just like with the schemes, the way that he did schemes to reach a goal, there needs to be somewhere that you're looking forward to. And I don't have anything to look forward to.
Okay, well, I'm giving it a C minus because Jesse was in it, and I was glad to see him, even though he didn't have to be there, because what he said didn't further the story or make it any better. It was just nice to see him and to listen to his voice.
So you give an episode a C minus for fan service and for comedy, because you like the comedy.
I did, because it was depressing. I thought the whole thing was depressing.
Oh, so you like that they made the depressing, awful, evil storyline a little funny. You thought that's good. They made it a little funny at least,
Yeah, I needed some humor. It was a bad day yesterday. But anyway, the thing where she goes to Howard's wife, I kind of don't comprehend it, because I don't know what the purpose of that was. To clear her conscience? I don't know. She did, if you recall, at his memorial...
Safi, that was another checklist thing. Remember?
Said something...
Check!
To her, and it was a lie.
Howard's wife doesn't know. Check!
Well, she knew all the time that he was not a drug addict. But she can't... She has her own... what they call cross to bear, because we saw a view of their lives together.
Yeah, and she was a bitch to him.
She was awful to him, and it could be she regrets that, but she can't blame that on Kim and Saul, because what she was doing was all her own, and I think she knows that. I think. Anyway, so I guess that's the mystery. Kim going there, and you could read the affidavit that she had. You could read some of the things. She admitted to the scam they were doing and how they carried it out and why they carried it out, I think. And then the thing about Howard, and it brings back bad memories, because I didn't think it was shocking for what Nacho did, but for Howard to get killed, to me that was shocking, because he would never have been there if they hadn't just driven him crazy, and he decided he paid him a visit, and then Lalo shows up for no reason, because he just made himself vulnerable to getting killed, and which that's kind of what Marco calls a checklist thing, and this thing about him being in the wrong place at the wrong time, I suppose so. It does happen in real life. But it was just awful, because he had absolutely nothing to do with any of that. And he's just standing there and he gets shot in the head. And then the way they buried him, and Mike was trying to make up for it by, I don't know, having them get their end loader or whatever you call it and put him in the hole nicer. I don't know. It was just awful. It was just the ugliest. The whole thing was so ugly and awful.
Well, Sophie, anything else?
No, there's nothing else. So, uh, I give it a C minus. Marco gives it a, would you say an F?
I said a fuck you. That's what I
Oh,
said.
F for FU, yeah. Okay, and that's it. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and also become one of our subscribers and make some comments. What did you think about this? And if you say it was a masterpiece, please stop. Right now,
Yeah, just
I'm on to you.
don't even
Okay?
don't even try.
I know what you're
with
doing,
this one.
and it's not going to work. I'm older than Marco, and I've seen a lot of the classic, the end of
Yeah, Sophie, you watched the entire Walton series with
ugh,
Richard Thomas,
don't remind me.
the
Anyway,
the Lord and Savior of movies, Richard Thomas.
I saw Little House on the Prairie.
You saw? Well, I've seen Andy Griffith's show a
and
million
all
times.
of the Andy Griffith episodes, and
You've seen
just-
the
and
X-Files too,
I mean, of course, there's episodes
that are bad.
that are bad because they had tons to work with, like 28 episodes or more maybe, and they didn't have a measly 6 or a measly 13 or a measly 8, and so they could afford to have a bad episode because they can't be on all the time. It's their job, but I mean they're human too, and but I mean it seems to me the problem is they deliberately have turned Saul into a bad person so you won't like him anymore. It would be like turning Jesse into a bad person. You wouldn't like him anymore either. Why would they do that? Everybody liked him. That's why they wanted to see a series about him. Because they thought he was a quirky, interesting character. Whether he pulled scams or not. And I don't remember him pulling a lot. Maybe he did in Breaking Bad. I haven't seen Breaking Bad more than once. I've just seen it once. But anyway, it's just kind of depressing that they would turn him into what they've turned him into, and because he's out of character, totally out of character. So why would you? And I don't know. They, the writers who did that Lone Gunman show, which we talked about and reviewed, and we really liked it, and it only got one season, but the writers expressed their positivity toward
The characters,
and they really did everything they could.
and you could tell they liked all the characters
Yeah,
equally.
and they wanted to make it as good as it could be, as good as they could. You know, we were able.
With this series, it's the opposite, where you can clearly tell they love Kim because of the actress. They hate Jimmy, and they don't care about anything else because everything else is dead and gone because they killed them all.
Yeah, they did.
So
that's it. So goodbye, everybody.
bye.